Good morning. The Cowboys just barely got by the Buffalo Bills last week. Can they keep the momentum, the late momentum going as they face the 5-0 New England Patriots this week?
And I'm Pat McGuire. Your Lacey Lions fought hard for a win last week against Township. Defense played a huge part in the game for both teams. We'll discuss the game and preview what the Lions have coming up.
Once again, good morning. You're watching This Week in Football. As always, I'm Tim LaCrasse. This is Pat McGuire. It was another big week in the NFL and in Lacey Township football last week, and this week promises to be even better. So to begin this week's show, Pat, last weekend the Lacey Lions just scraped out a victory over Brick. Pat, what gave the Lions the victory last week?
Well, Tim, for only the second time in school history, and for the second year in a row for that matter, the Lacey Lions came away with a victory over the Township Dragons. Overall, I believe it was drive and determination that won the game for the Lions. All the players knew the team was in a hole after losing back-to-back weeks and seeing the team's record drop to 2-2 and drop themselves right out of the state and short conference rankings. The Lions had a big point to prove against Brick, and they certainly did just that. It wasn't a pretty win, but it was a win nonetheless, and I think the Lions are right back on track and right where they're supposed to be.
There was a lack of offense in the game the other day. Warren Smith was off on his passes. He overthrew Burt for an interception, underthrew Pandorf, which the next play led to a fumble. What does Warren Smith and the offense have to do to get jump-started?
I think this is a little bit of a problem we're starting to see a little bit for the Lions. Their offense has slowed down in the last couple of weeks. In the two losses, the offense was also the problem with the mistakes. They're just one step off, not making that one play, not making the big-time play to get the score. I think there's something the Lions are going to have to fix. They're right there, though. I mean, the receivers are getting open. The plays just aren't being made. I think the running game is really important. The Lions have to stick to the running game. As good as Warren Smith is, as good as the receivers are, they have to keep giving the ball to Rick versus Mancini, allow the running game to work, and that'll open up the passing game for them.
Could it be that their offense is just pressed to get the job done? I mean, you see mental mistakes starting to happen now with Warren Smith and Tom Rickmers not being able to communicate. Not Warren Smith can't put the ball on Rickmers' chest. They fumbled twice, and is that going to be a problem in the future?
I think this team's under a lot of pressure. They know after the season they had last season, there was a tremendous amount of pressure them put on this season. They wanted to try to repeat. They want to have the same success they had last year. Now, after the two losses, they're feeling a little indifferent. They don't really know what to do. They're trying to bounce back. I mean, they got the win last weekend, so it looked good. They're on the right track now. Hopefully they can improve and continue to win games.
Now, the biggest problem from which I've seen the Lions throughout the season is they can't stop the big play. They can't stop the 3rd and 8 yards on the 45-yard line. The other team seems to be making all those receptions. There was a nice long touchdown pass from Brick Township down the right side of them where the receiver, there was nobody within 15 yards of him.
I think that's what the Lions are missing from last year's team. I think last year's team, they had that guy who would make the one big-time play. Sean McAndrew came in a lot. So I think this team's still looking for that one player to step up and make that one play a game that'll really change it. And I think that'll really help them turn around. That's what will propel them to another state championship if they're going to go on and win one. Somebody has to step up, start making those 1 or 2 big plays a game that really can change it.
Now, last week, they made the switch. They switched R.J. Rowe from outside linebacker to safety and put Tom Rickmers as a linebacker. Most of everybody thought that was going to be a good plan. However, Ron Stevenson was out, so it kind of put more pressure on Rickmers.
Yeah, it did. The injury to Ron Stevenson really hurt the Lions. He's a good player. I still like the look, though. I still think R.J. Rowe is going to be better at defense, and I certainly wouldn't want to run at Tom Rickmers if I was a running back. So I like the look there as a good look for their defense. I think it'll help them stop more big-time plays from happening.
Now, if only R.J. Rowe was there in that big play against Long Branch, maybe the Lions come out on top of that game. 6-3, you got to be able to make that something like that. We're going to take a short break here on This Week in Football. When we come back, Pat and I will discuss the big games for Week 6 in the National Football League.
Each year, more than 150,000 Americans are diagnosed with lung cancer. Over 93% of the people diagnosed will die from the disease. Only 87% of the people diagnosed with lung cancer are smokers. Smoking just doesn't affect you, it affects other people around you. Visit www.smokefree.gov for more information, because it's never too late to quit.
Welcome back to This Week in Football. Pat, the first game on our schedule features two of the elite teams in the NFC, the 3-1 Redskins and the 4-1 Packers. Can the Packers' magical season continue this week as they face the feisty Jason Campbell and the Washington Redskins?
Well, Tim, I'm certainly got to tell you one thing. I've been very, very impressed with Brett Favre and the Packers so far this season. They're playing like the Packers teams from the mid-'90s when Favre was in his prime. They did stumble a bit last week in their loss to the Bears and showed that their division is still very much up for grabs. Their defense was picked apart a little bit for the first time this season last week, and I'm looking to see this week if they step it up to help the offense out. The defense is definitely the key to the Packers. If the defense plays well, the Packers will continue to win. Meanwhile, the Redskins are definitely the least talked about one-loss team in football. Without much national attention, Jason Campbell has quietly led his team off to a good 3-1 start. I think coming off their bye week is a good thing for this team because it allows them to focus on ways to beat this tough Packers defense. The Redskins don't do any one thing particularly well, but so far they've had a knack for coming out on top. This is definitely a game to watch because both teams are trying to really prove how good they can be and will be the rest of the season. I'm taking the Packers winning with a fourth-quarter touchdown drive in this one.
The one thing I think the defense has for the Packers going for them is that Jason Campbell is a rookie, not basically a rookie quarterback, but he is still a young, premature quarterback, so I don't think he's going to be able to pick apart the Packers defense. But what's going on with Brett Favre? He's just been on fire recently.
Yeah, I don't know what happened in the offseason. He might have had a great offseason. He's doing something right, and he should keep it up. If he keeps it up, the Packers are definitely going to be a top contender in the NFC. He's off to a great season. He's breaking records. He's really, really playing well. And he's brought this Packers team, they're really overachieving. They don't have too many big-name guys. They don't have too many big-time playmakers, but Brett Favre has really proven that he can really do it himself.
Well, he's leading the league in passing yards by 27 yards over Tony Romo, but there's just another factor to him. It's not just his stats, it's the leadership that he brings to this team.
Oh, absolutely. His intensity and his drive is right back to where it was as the mid-'90s when they were winning Super Bowls. There's something that's went off in him. Brett Favre has decided, he decided to come back this year, decided to play one more season, and it worked out great for him. The Packers are definitely the talk of the NFL. They're the feel-good story, and they're really playing well. And it's exciting to watch because Brett Favre is a very exciting quarterback, and his leadership has definitely come through, and that's great to see on TV.
What happened Sunday night against the Bears where Packers were leading, Brett Favre was having a great game, and then they just fell off the table?
Yeah, I think the Bears' defense finally stepped it up. I think the Bears finally started to play as people expected them to. Brian Griese really showed that he can play consistent. He didn't make the same mistakes that Rex Grossman made, so it helped out the Bears a lot. The Bears showed that they're a good team when their offense functions and stays consistent, so things look good for the Bears.
Are the Redskins for real, or are they just one of those teams that's overachieving?
It's tough to tell. I mean, they did lose to the Giants in a tough one, and they blew a fourth-quarter lead there to lose to the Giants before their bye week. They're coming off their bye week. They don't have too many big wins. They won a game by a field goal. So this is definitely an interesting game. If the Redskins come out and win today against the Packers, there's a very good Packers team, so I think that'll prove how good the Redskins are. If they don't come out and win today, then I think people are going to start to question whether they're legit or not.
I think the biggest thing for this Redskins team is that Joe Gibbs has to call the right plays. The Giant game, they should have won a Giant game. They have first and goal on the 2-yard line, and they have 4 pass plays. They couldn't get in, and it's totally on Joe Gibbs' shoulders. He's been a coach since forever, and now he comes back. He's been a little bit shaky since he came back a couple years ago, and I think he's going to be the determination factor for this Redskins team.
Tim, this week, the Philadelphia Eagles went into their bye week last week after losing to the Giants. The Jets did not look good in their loss to the Giants just last Sunday. Today, the Eagles and Jets face off in the Meadowlands with both teams needing a win to stay alive. Will the Jets' struggle continue, or will the Eagles be the team with their backs against the wall this week?
Well, no matter what happens, to me, both teams are still going to be up against the wall. The Eagles are coming off a bye week, which I feel gives them the early advantage. But the Jets are coming off an upset loss to the Giants last week. Chad Pennington hurt this football team last week with 3 picks, 2 of them to a rookie corner who had never had an interception, which one of those was returned for a touchdown, which sealed the deal for the Giants. Pennington, who now has 6 touchdowns to go along with 5 interceptions, needs to pick up his game or he will lose his starting job to Kellen Clemens. Now for the Eagles, they're off their worst played game in years. 2 weeks ago against the Giants, where their offensive line gave up 12 sacks. This Jets defense, though I don't think is capable of doing just that, they can put enough pressure to force Donovan McNabb into throws that he doesn't want to make. I expect the Jets to win this one, but it'll be close.
Tim, that's a tough call with the Jets here. They haven't played well in the last couple of weeks. Definitely going to be a good game. Jets, speaking of the Jets were 10-6 last season. What has been the difference this year? Why aren't they having the season they had last year this year?
I honestly don't know. Eric Mangini going into this year had all the faith in his team. Chad Pennington gets hurt the first week of the season, and maybe that's what started happening. Maybe Chad Pennington is still hurt. He just doesn't want to stay. There's just something wrong with him. His arm strength is not there, but it's never been there. But he's not making the smart plays that Chad Pennington used to make. And I think that's what's been the big difference between last year and this year.
I think the running game has really cost him. I think they brought in Thomas Jones hoping that he would open up the running game and take a lot of pressure off of Chad Pennington, allow him to be the quarterback that he is. But now that Thomas Jones isn't having the season that he was supposed to have, and Leon Washington, they're really splitting time. The running game really isn't there. I think that's costing the Jets because their offense isn't open enough.
It's more of the offensive line that's the problem, not making the holes, or maybe it could be the opposing defensive line, but the offensive line is what is hurting this team because they're not giving Chad Pennington enough time, and they're not giving Thomas Jones enough time to get through the line of scrimmage.
Now, let's back to the Eagles. Donovan McNabb has really shown like two faces this season. We saw him come out against the Lions a couple weeks ago, have an excellent game, throw 3 touchdowns to Kevin Curtis, rushed for another one. They scored 56 points. He came out and dominated. Everyone said he was back. But at the start of the season, we saw him struggle, not play well. And against the Giants, he did not play well. Why has there been two faces of Donovan McNabb, and which one will we see the rest of the season?
I think the rest of the season you'll see that bad face because that one game, it was just a fluke. I think the Detroit Lions just totally fell asleep. Again, they overlooked the Philadelphia Eagles, and I think that's why the Eagles beat them as bad as they did. If you take a look, he's more consistent with his bad side, throwing the ball to receivers who aren't open, trying to force the ball in, not running when he can. He's the type of quarterback that has to bring the ball in and run when he has to, and he just hasn't done that this year. Maybe his knee, he's afraid that his knee's going to get hurt again. Doesn't matter. You're an NFL quarterback. You have to make that extra effort to win, and he just hasn't been doing that at all.
Now, we saw with the Eagles' offense, Brian Westbrook was out 2 weeks ago. Now that he had their bye week off, he's still questionable for today's game. How important is he, that Eagles offense, into their success?
If he doesn't play good, the Eagles aren't going to win. He's not only is he the leading rusher, but he's also one of the leading receivers on this team who's always open on a sweep, or he even goes deep across the middle a couple of times a game. And he's probably the most important factor for this Eagles team to win. If he doesn't play good, Eagles aren't going to win a game.
I think we've seen from year to year, and definitely in the years past, the Eagles' success does lie on Brian Westbrook's shoulders. When he plays well, I think the Eagles play especially well. When he gets in the end zone, that's when they win games. And when he's out, it definitely hurts the Eagles.
They're gonna have a huge problem in the coming years when he retires. And I mean, he's been hurt so much this year already that he might be thinking, maybe this is it. I'm gonna retire this year. They need to find a running back, whether it be the draft or somewhere in their system, who can take over Brian Westbrook. Right now, they just don't have it. And Brian Westbrook is the #1 guy. And if he's hurt, it's not going to do very well. We're going to take a short break here on This Week in Football. When we come back, the rest of the big games of Week 6, plus the WLTS awards for Week 5.
NBA 联盟当中，我们还记得在60年代还有一个小土豆韦伯，那么他是也。这个就是整个哈林队这就是在昨天他们
作为他们来讲，篮球在他们手上，他们同时还可以做着其他的事情。
I said he gets 2. Oh,
Eric Broadway Jones is
Broadway.
Let's see it. Game time. That's just warm up. Game time. It'll be on. Man.
Defense by player, the wall, Evans.
Yeah! Y'all ready for showtime? Harlem Wizards, let's go. Y'all ready? Let's go. I need y'all to get real hype out there. Let's go. Come on.
Welcome back to This Week in Football, Pat. The next game on our schedule features the 3-2 New York Football Giants and the 1-4 Falcons. Pat, what are the Falcons going to have to do to keep this one close?
Well, Tim, I think the only way the Giants can lose today is if they beat themselves. And if they avoid the drive-killing penalties and don't turn over the ball, they should roll right into their third straight victory. Last week, a solid win over the Jets, and the Giants are finally showing signs of the team that they can really be. Plaxico Burress leads the league in touchdown catches, and he has really clicked with Eli Manning so far this season. The Falcons are one of the worst teams in the league, so the Giants need to avoid embarrassment this week and get the win this afternoon. There's no doubt about it. If the Giants can play the way they keep playing, the Falcons have no chance. You got no chance of stopping them. Giants should definitely come away with a win this week.
What is going on with Eli Manning in the first half? Is it just that he's not prepared, he doesn't game plan enough for the first half, or is it that the second half is just when he gets fired up?
Tim, it's been tough to tell, but you're absolutely right. Eli Manning has not had good first halves, and it's been weird, and it's been tough for the Giants because we've seen them come back and we've seen him have excellent second halves, which is not a bad thing. But he needs to come out and start a game better. I think the Falcons are a good team to work on that on. If he comes out and he can score a couple touchdowns in the first half, I think he'll get his confidence back. That'll help him throughout the rest of the season. But he definitely needs to improve his first half performance because once they start facing some better teams in some big games, they can't go down and expect to come back every time.
Well, they have the Cowboys coming up in 3 weeks. That might be the highlight of the Giants season. But what's going on? They're not even using Shockey at all. He's just non-existent anymore.
I think Shockey really he's worn out his welcome. I think they're tired of him dropping passes. They're tired of him committing silly penalties and really killing their drives. I think Shockey really needs to get his act together and start proving how good of a tight end he really is and start catching balls when they're thrown to him and doing the right thing and getting in the end zone for the Giants. Otherwise, he's going to see less and less touches coming his way because he has not played well.
Now, the only thing we could say that happened good for the Falcons this past week was that all the bonus money that Michael Vick got in signing his contract a couple years ago, they get all that back. So what do the Falcons need to focus on to use that money for?
Well, I think they definitely need to focus. Just get through the season, do the best you can, try to get a high draft pick. Maybe they should go on and lose the rest of their games because they really have nothing else working for them. They got a good young team. The team's in place. Their defense isn't that bad. They need to go make sure they get a good first-round draft pick and hopefully start with pick somebody of good character, somebody who's going to be there a long time in the draft, and build on from there. Tim, by far the game of the week, the one we've all been waiting for, a possible Super Bowl preview. And if you don't know by now, I'm talking about the New England Patriots taking on the Dallas Cowboys. Tim, 6 turnovers last week on Monday night for Tony Romo and the Cowboys, but they still managed to get the victory. 6 turnovers against the Patriots won't have the same happy ending for the Cowboys, right?
Oh, definitely. Six turnovers will not get them a win anywhere else except for in Buffalo, where the Cowboys have played good. Now, the Cowboys, if they turn the ball over 6 times against Patriots, they'll get run over. But the thing that I like the most about the Cowboys last week is that they didn't let their quarterback struggles hurt them in the long run. In fact, I think Romo's bad game helped the rest of the team as a whole. The Cowboys now understand interceptions are going to happen, especially with this being Romo's first full season as a starting quarterback. Last year, Romo threw 13 picks in 12 games played, so they have to expect turnovers. Now back to this week. This is obviously the game of the week, possibly both the game of the year and a Super Bowl preview. And as long as Romo doesn't turn the ball over as much as last week, they should be able to hold down the fort that is Texas Stadium. The Cowboys' defense is good enough to contain a duo of big-name receivers in Randy Moss and Dante Stallworth. And I think this game is going to come down to what defense can hold on the longest. Because we all know the Cowboys can go score for score with the Patriots as they lead the National Football League in points scored.
Tim, this is definitely going to be the game of the week, definitely the game of the year, a big-time game for both teams. Both teams are really trying to prove how good they are. Now, how did the Cowboys do it against the Bills? With the 6 turnovers, with everything that happened, how did they come out with the win?
I think their defense made the plays that they had to make. It was 3rd and 8 on the 12-yard line for the Bills in the fourth quarter, a time where a field goal puts the game away. They go back, throws the pass, Townsend picks it up, intercepts it, goes the ball on the 20-yard line. Unfortunately, the Cowboys threw an interception on the second play in that drive, but still, it kept the Bills away from scoring. Their defense did a fantastic job in keeping the Bills' offense off the scoreboard because 21 of those points came from special teams or defense, and I thought that was the key. The Cowboys' defense held down the fort for the Cowboys.
Now, Tim, if the Patriots win this game, can they be considered the best team in the NFL right now?
win or lose, I think these two teams are in the top 3. I think if the Patriots win, they're definitely the best team in the AFC. That probably, if they win, they're going to be considered the best team in all of the NFL. They've been the best team in the NFL for the whole month and a half that we've been here. But the Cowboys, if they win this game, they're going to be on the top, maybe number 1 team in the NFL because they beat the probable Super Bowl winners. Now it's time for the WLTS awards. But no, wait. Last comments. We're running out of time. Pat, what's your last comments for week 6?
Well, Tim, the Lacey Lions are finally back on track. A huge win against Brick last week. I expect them to come out again this week. This time to kickstart their season. The wins are going to start piling up. This Lions team's going to roar right through a couple more victories, and I'm excited for it.
My last comment is I think the officials did a great job last week sorting through penalties or challenges or questionable calls by the officials where they got together and they overturned it. Quite a few forced out calls were made where the one official says incomplete, the other official comes in, they decide no, it was a catch, forced out. They're doing a great job, and they're actually letting the football players play football as the way it should be played. Well, that will just about do it for us here on This Week in Football. Be sure to catch Pat and I every week right here on WLTS as we break down the world of football. Also, be sure to catch Matt Uvigis and I for Lacey Football all this week as the Lions take on Brick Township. So, for Pat McGuire, I'm Tim LaCrasse. Happy Sunday, Lacey Township, and enjoy the big games.